Hello, this is Ricky again, speaking about outside painted porcelain by artists known as house maulers. So as I mentioned in an earlier video, this was where Meissen produced so much porcelain that they didn't have enough painters themselves to paint it all. So they sold some of it to outside manufacturers or painters, and these outside painters were known as house maulers. Now there was varying degrees of quality amongst these outside painters. Some of them were really good, some of them were pretty dire, to be quite honest. And it was something that Meissen was concerned about. They did not want their own Meissen to be regarded as substandard because of the painting on it. So what they started to do from about 1760, 1750, something like that, was with the mice swords they introduced a certain amount of cancellation lines. Now one cancellation line scored through the cross swords would mean that it was meant to be outside painting. So it was a way of differentiating their own artists to those of house maulers. What I'm going to show you today is kind of a middling kind by still quite a famous painter of Meissen of his time. I'm just going to show you this here, and it's by Meissen of Pressnitz. I'm going to bring that forward so you can get a good look. One of the ways of identifying this particular house mauler is this very elaborate scrolling, gilded scrolling you can see around the outside. Very, very thick, very rococo. And what we've got here is a soldier returning to camp. And you can see the camp just to the right in orange and yellow. And then it's very difficult to see, but on the hill you can see prisoners, and some of them are being tortured, unfortunately. One of them is on the so-called wheel, being broken, impaled, and then right on the top of the hill you can see some prisoners being basically tortured and on wooden stakes. So not a particularly nice scene. Of course, Meissen and various other manufacturers at this time did have these kind of scenes on their porcelain. This was about 1750, this particular one just before the 7 Years' War, which was to plunge Europe into war once again from 1756 to 1763. So I suppose appropriate for this particular time within history. So there you've got it, very, very well painted. I particularly like the sky here as well, with the different colour hues. You've got a slight pinkish and greyish tinge there, and we know it's Meissen because if I turn it over and turn it round you can see the cross swords of Meissen. Now you'll also notice there is no cancellation mark as yet. This is before they introduced the cancellation mark. Unfortunately the handle over time has disappeared. You can see the gilding around the outside, but all in all a lovely little coffee cup there, and as I say, beautifully painted by an outside painter which was known as a house mauler, and in this particular case it is by Meissen of Pressnitz. Thank you very much.